This conference will now be recorded.
All right, good afternoon and welcome to the Clear Lines training session. I am your host, Kipp Cohen. It is Thursday, the 12th of May, 2022. Here for the next 60 minutes to answer your questions about the Clear Lines indicator running on the MedvedTrader platform. This is a twice weekly training session every Tuesday and Thursday at 1:30 Eastern. This session is geared for the subscribers of Clear Lines, as well as equity-alerts.com, and for those that have interest in learning more about what we do. Today's session, I'm going to focus specifically on how I utilize the KDJ indicator in conjunction with Clear Lines and the CCI indicator. This session is being recorded, and will be posted to our YouTube page in the next day or two. If you do have questions about the topic that I am discussing, please submit them through the GoToMeeting player. At the end of this session, if you have other questions, I'd be happy to answer those as well. So let's first spend a minute talking about my setup, my charts, and what I look for, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the addition of the KDJ indicator and how I'm utilizing that. So I look at 4 different time frames when trading actively: 1, 2, 5, and 8 minute. I utilize Clear Lines, which are a buying and selling momentum based indicator. I use I do have candles overlaid on some of the charts just so I can see where the price goes, because the Clear Lines are momentum, not price. So price sometimes goes above or below. So I just like to know where that price is. Except on the 8 minute, I just use that as a 8 minute as a pure Clear Lines and CCI, just to see the intraday trend. The 1 minute chart also has the addition of the Fibonacci Pivots, as well as a first high 5 minute high and low. The 2 minute has the first 15 minute high and low, as well as the 1 minute also has the VWAP, and same on the 2 minute. Volume weighted average price. 2 minute also has the Fibonacci pivots, and then the 5 minute has weekly Fibonacci pivots as well as VWAP. And then all of the 1, 2, and 5 have both this modified CCI as well as the KDJ indicator. So just so you know, for the CCI that I utilize, a 9 period based on the high plus low plus close plus open divided by 4. So again, it's a modified CCI. CCI is a momentum / overbought oversold indicator. So the way I have it is, as stocks move into start to become overbought, they move into the green. When they start to become oversold or some more selling momentum comes in, they move into the red. KDJ is also a overbought oversold indicator. I haven't changed any of the preset settings from Medved. K percent 14, D percent slow is 7, D 3, K percent slow 3, and K 2. This is basically a modified stochastic. It's a type of a stochastic, the KDJ. Again, giving you overbought and oversold. So when when it goes into the green and starts going up near the highs, it becomes overbought. When it starts going down and into the red, it starts to become oversold. So what I have found is that when watching the two lower indicators in conjunction with the clear lines on a 1 minute, I've noticed, and I'm going to stretch this down so I can click through symbols up here, but I still see it. So what I've seen is when you pivot from red to green and get an up arrow on the clear lines, that typically gives a really strong signal to go long, and vice versa. When the clear lines roll over and red over green, and then you get a down arrow and you get CCI and KDJ moving into the red, that gives a strong signal to go short. Now, some of that is dependent upon the market. If the market's in a chop, then you might get faked out. You know, if we're just chopping back and forth like now, you'll notice, you know, these cycles are shallow. They're very shallow. So you have to look at the, you know, kind of gauge, are we in a tight range, or are we in a bigger movement intraday? Do we have more room to move up and down? You can use your VWAP to help determine, you know, if you have enough space, or kind of you'll see if it's kind of chopping sideways above or below VWAP. That'll give you an idea of if you're in a choppy trend or a bigger channel. But the key is so here's the thing. If you jumpstart it, you increase risk. Okay. In other words, if one of them moves into the red, but not the other one, or you don't have a down arrow yet, but maybe one's red and the other's not, that's a high risk trade. You improve the probability of success when all three are lined up, especially when they all kind of line up right around the same spot. When you get the down arrow, when you get the CCI and the KDJ all simultaneous. Like, here's a good spot right here, right? You had a down arrow, red, red, pretty much all simultaneous, all within about a minute. So that's a strong signal when they all kind of line up. When they're mishmashed and not lining up, that signal is not as good and not as reliable. So there's a higher probability of failure in those scenarios. And then, you know, again, if you're not in agreement, or you're trying to just pick a top, that's a much higher risk trade. So I'm not saying you can't do those. What I'm trying to point out is that when everything lines up, the level of success increases, the level of risk decreases. You have a higher probability of a winning trade when everything kind of just goes into, you know, lines up into the right spot. So here's another example, like Microsoft went right up to VWAP, touched it. You got the down arrow. Now you didn't get the CCI and the KDJ for a few minutes, but once those followed into suit, look at the drop. You know, that's a significant drop from that point. Once you got the down arrow at pushing away from the volume weighted average price, and then these two lined up together, then you had a good entry for a short. Here's another fine example of a good entry going long. You have an up arrow right here. Whoops. Why am I not getting my crosshairs? Anyway, you had a big green candle, you got an up arrow, and you got both of these crossing virtually at the same time, and then a big move up. Green arrow, both crossing, big move up. Both crossing, green arrow, move up. Both crossing simultaneously with the green arrow, big move up. So then it pulls back, retests the top, get a down arrow, but these didn't line up till later. So the best spots are when they all kind of fall into place together. So here was down arrow, both kind of crossing over. Well, that was a couple minutes afterwards, but that was a good reversal point. And then let's back up this chart a little bit. So this is interesting. KDJ went in the green first, then you get an up arrow, and then you get CCI, and then it runs. Up arrow, KDJ first, CCI follows, all within a couple minutes of each other, big run up. And you'll start to notice when they line up, those tend to be the most ideal entry points when the three line up together. I don't know why. Oh, it may be because of I don't know why I'm not getting my full crosshairs. Boeing. Let's look at Boeing. So here was earlier, arrow, and they both crossed over at the same time. So this was almost a perfect kind of, they all lined up. Hold on, let's do it this way. Anyway, they all kind of lined up simultaneously. That was a great entry point. Those are the best ones when they all line together. And then even this reversal right here, they all kind of lined up, down arrow, red, red, and then a nice sell-off. Goes back up, you get another down arrow. Now that was a little delayed by the time the CCI and the KDJ caught up, but that was a bounce off of the volume weighted average price, which is another ideal location. Now you can also, if you're a pretty active trader, this is based off of a 1 minute. The 2 minute will do the similar. So you can get a down arrow, lines move into red, it rolls, but then it bounced, but it stayed in the red and then rolled back down. So that was a pretty clear signal. Here is a up arrow, both in the green, run up. Down arrow, both into the red, roll over. So you don't necessarily have to use you could use the 2 minute probably will be less volatile, but you might miss some of that initial move. Again, I prefer the 1 minute. Whoops. Darn. We go back to the 1. I like the 1 better, but you could use the 2 minute. How does this work on bigger time frames like 10 or 15 minute? So hold on. So here's the 10 minute. The problem is by the time everything kind of lines up, you're way late. You're going to be late into the move. I, I, I think it's going to be too much. It's going to have gone too far by the time they all line up. You're too deep into the move. I'd say 1 or 2 minute would be the maximum. But it's easy to scroll back and look and see where those trades kind of fall into place. Linda wanted to know if I had tried these on a half minute. I have not. I think it's going to be too noisy on a half minute. There's just I came to the conclusion that half minute's just too choppy, too many false. From what I can tell, it works best on a 1 minute. To get that line up, to get that nice down arrow or up arrow, and then CCI and KDJ kind of all coming together. See, here's a spot on Chewy, down arrow, red, red. It's that lineup that you're looking for, where they just all kind of fall right into place. There are going to be some days where it's going to be a little more challenging because of the choppiness in the market. Here this morning, you want to see the lineup together. You want to find a spot where they all kind of meet up together simultaneously. So here's a down arrow, red, red. So that was the beginning, but then it spikes up and then it rolls back down. I mean, today is obviously just some wild swings. Here's a good one. End phase, down arrow. I mean, this isn't even that great because look, it kept going back into the green on the CCI. But here was a perfect spot this morning. Etsy, up green arrow, and then you got CCI and KDJ simultaneously as it breaks VWAP. So look at that, was a huge run right there. That was like 9 points. That's the big moves. We're trying, you really want to try to get on. When they line up and then just accelerate. I think GameStop did that this morning as well. Right here. Up arrow, green, green, and then the thing just took off. When you're watching the SPY for confirmation, do you watch the 1 minute? Well, so I have SPY 1 and 3 minute on another chart. So yeah, I'm watching. Well, I'm watching S&P futures on my monitor to the right. But yeah, I'm looking at both. Let's see, Google. Look at this reversal point up here. Down arrow, red, red, simultaneous, right here. So 2255, it's at 2200. 55-point move. It's literally that perfect lineup. Those are the ones that are gold. It's gold, Jerry. It's gold. Even here, up move, up arrow, almost simultaneous green, green runs from 2235 to 2265, 30-point move. But the key is the lineup where they line up together, the three together within like 1 minute. Ann says it seems as though the best moves have the biggest angle on the red line on the KDJ, almost vertical. Yeah, I need to start focusing on those angles as well, just to see if I can dig out anything that might be helpful. Here was a great spot on Lucid this morning. Up arrow, green, green, almost simultaneous, and then boom. Green arrow, green, green, boom. Here was a good sell-off. Red arrow, those weren't simultaneous, they were close, but you know, the best are when you really want to see the lineup. Green arrow, and they both cross pretty close to each other. Big move up. That was a good spot this morning on LVS. Moderna, there's got to be some good spots on Moderna. See, like I shorted it, this move got the arrow first, but then they both crossed over, and that was actually a good spot. It just kind of chopped and then it broke down. But look at this, up arrow, green, green, run, breaking VWAP. That's even better when you're breaking through VWAP. So let's watch here. Green arrow, just getting green on KDJ. CCI is about to move into the green. Let me stage an order here. But the KDJ already turned green, so they're not going to line up. But we're trying to put an arrow in. Oh, here comes CCI. Yeah, this is not a correct lineup. We got a green arrow. We didn't get CCI. And KDJ was already green, so this is no good. Let's watch Penn down here for a minute. And Penn's a little oversold. Starting to bounce. Both are still in the red, trying to move into the green. I'm just gonna stage it down here. KDJ's trying to cross and move green, but we don't have an up arrow yet. We should get an arrow come in on the next minute if this continues. Yep, there's our arrow. The question is it going to stay? So KDJ is now green. CCI is about to go green. We have room to VWAP. But notice it pops and then rolls, pops, rolls, pops, rolls. So this could fake out. Every time it pops up a little bit, it rolls right back over. Notice that? Every time. All right. I'm going to try Penn long here because we got up arrow, green, green. This came a little early before this. The KDJ came before the CCI, and we got the locked arrow. The good thing is I know my risk here. It's not a whole lot. Risk 18 to make almost 60. But see what happened? I was telling you guys, popped up, rolls over, pops up, rolls over, pops up. So we're trying to put in a bottom, but it's struggling. And actually, SPY started to bounce a little bit. I'm watching SPY off to the side. I can put, I'm watching the ES, but you know, you can keep an eye on the S&P. Yeah, see, we're running. See, SPY's running. SPY's trying to run. Well, was trying. A lot of times I'm watching TZA also. because when TZA starts running up, markets tend to sell off. When TZA rolls over, markets start to run. It also seems like some of the best moves are early in the day using this method, in the first hour, hour and a half. All right, we're getting another up arrow, and we move back into the green. So that's a good sign. Like we're, trying to put in a bottom here. I'm going to put pin on another screen real quick so we can see if there's anything else kind of moving. Or any other like lineups. So Airbnb, green arrow, CCI. Of course, this was already in the red in the green on the KDJ. That was fairly close. Kind of a line up there. There you go. That was a good spot. Up arrow, CCI, KDJ, all kind of pretty close. This had already started, but you had these line up pretty nicely. Same with Boeing. Up arrow, CCI, KDJ was already, kind of confirmed it. Baidu. Pen is starting to move. Got up to 29.15. Now we're rolling back down. Started and then rolled over a little bit. SPY's rolling over. Q's rolling over. I just got stopped, pin rolled. Dow's down almost 500 now, so that was pretty sharp reversal. But I didn't have to risk a lot either. I knew where my stop would be. Kratos. Just not seeing much at the moment. Any questions? And what a fake out day. Um, that's, I believe, the J line, which is, hold on. Okay, so I'm just going to read this. KDJ indicator is a technical indicator used to analyze and predict changes in stock trends and price patterns in a traded asset. KD indicator is otherwise known as the random index. It is a very practical technical indicator which is most commonly used in the market trend analysis of short-term stock. It is derived from a stochastic oscillator indicator, with the only difference having an extra line called the J line. values of K and D lines show if the security is overbought over 80 or oversold below 20. The moments of the K crossing D are the moments for selling or buying. The J line represents the divergence of the D value from the K. The value of J can go beyond 0 to 100 for K and D lines on the chart. So basically you get that red line crosses through when the green and when it goes from green to red or red to green. That's how that works. Anytime the lines change direction from green to red or red to green, that red line crosses through. So right now we're in, like on run, we're in a big oversold scenario, and now buying is coming back in. Here, let's watch Digital Turbine. So Digital Turbine, sell, 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 starting to get some up arrow, but still in the red, still in the red. But see how the lines are coming together. So they're about to cross. Question from Jay is the parameters that I have on CCI and KDJ. So I use the preset parameters on KDJ. I haven't changed the ones that, they're the same ones that come with, that Medved gives, preset 147332. Nothing changed there. CCI, on the other hand, is definitely my own modification. So the parameters for CCI, 9 period, based on high plus low plus close plus open divided by 4, signal 2. Weak or strong set to 0, and that's it. With checks under positive and negative set to 100. By the way, pen turned around and bounced. Okay, so we're close to getting another green up arrow here, and we're almost into the green on both of these. So this has the potential. Again, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna stage an order here. So here's our up arrow, here's our green, green, all coming in at the same time. But the only negative is we're really close to VWAP. So that's a big negative. But up arrow, green, green. So I do like this. Now this arrow is not complete yet. It's got another 30 seconds before it completes. Before it locks in. All right, I'm gonna try APPS here long. Let's see what happens. Only because everything's kind of lining up. we got our green arrow and we got both CCI and KDJ coming in at the same time. Again, let me put my all right, I got to stop below the low. And if we break out, I have a limit up kind of where, before it gets to fib pivot. Market's starting to roll back down again. So again, this is a tough afternoon. We had a great run this morning and things have kind of gone south. Dow's down over 500 now. NASDAQ's down almost 200. Everything's gone south. All right, well, here we go. Starting to pick up a little steam. Needs to get through VWAP. If it gets through VWAP, this thing should pick up some momentum. Kind of slowly bouncing. I know, Linda. Linda says, I wish they'd let you change the bracket prices. It's kind of frustrating that you can't do it. You can do it through Thinkorswim, but then it messes up everything. Like I can go up on my TOS platform and like I can do a cancel replace on my stop. But now you can't see it. You see the limit, but you don't see the stop, you know? It just kind of messes up. So you end up having to manage it through Thinkorswim. I could cancel it and then reset it. See, I got to go up here and cancel. And now I can go back and sometimes it's easier just to use a stop and then just to adjust the stop. It's working, you know, and now look how, oh, came right back down. I made a little bit. But you can see, you know, we got that up. You know, the only problem is we were right at VWAP. So I knew it would probably come back down. Wait a minute. Why am I still in the trade? I screwed it up. Dang it. I thought I was out. I added to it again. See, I've been doing these errors today. I did something wrong. God, I thought I got stopped and I added to the position. That was a mistake. That should not have, I should have been stopped out. I don't even see that. Yeah, I thought I got stopped. I don't know what happened. Today's like lots of error days. I've had several errors. So yeah, I don't even want to talk about it. Today was not a good day. Lots of errors. Well, that just cost me. Should have made money and I lost. Yes, this is recorded and it will get posted. I can't believe I did that again. Any other questions? God, I was short Amazon 2203 this morning. Almost 100 points. Well, actually, it did drop 100 points. Yeah, Frank, I need to get a kind of find out what some of those are. I have to dig in and research what some of the updates are. The most of the information from MedVed on updates, just so you know, is posted. If you go to download, this will list like add-ons and fixes, and like important stuff is in red. But any like major update, any major items are the ones in red. I can't believe I did that. Yeah, it cost me $30. Market's trying to bounce again too. Any other questions? All right, I'm going to call it a day here. I want to thank you all for tuning in. If you have additional questions, you're welcome to email me, kip@equity-alerts.com, or call or text me on my cell phone, 972-841-8886. And Linda says she really likes those indicators. Says thanks, you're welcome. And Jay says no questions, just this was the information I needed, so thank you. You are very welcome. All right, guys, well, have a great afternoon, and I'll see you all in the morning. Bye-bye.